California posse group that's here knows that I have another hat in my world besides being the co-founder of Stewards of Change. And I'm a practitioner in child welfare for many, many years in the state of California, and I have the privilege to be the executive director of an organization called SpiroNet, which on a weekly basis touches the lives of about 2,500 children and families across the state of California, and on a scale that when I humbly began as a live-in group home worker with my wife and 8 delinquent adolescent boys over 32 years ago, never imagined that one day I'd actually even have leveraged it to this point to be here in front of you all today, as well as representing all of those families and children and about 1,000 staff across the state of California, 44 program sites, 22 major locations. And we do a whole series of social services, an array from after-school programming, adoption, foster care, behavioral health, and community and youth development and after-school programming, and that's just some of the things. And actually, we are proud to also have been recently awarded by the Children's Bureau one of the Fostering Connection grants, working with navigation for kinship in Los Angeles as a joint project. But why I'm here is I wanted to be able to bring voice to this to you all. And Cheryl talked a little bit about the need to have families and bring the voice of families. And certainly over the years that we've done this conference, we've always had that conversation. And the conversation is how do we balance out the need for the content and the intensity of the content versus being able to match that with the need for us to be mindful of those that we're caring for and serve, and those who access the services that we deliver on a day-to-day basis. And so it's my privilege, really, to introduce you to Stephen Weatherby, who's a young man who is taking part in our transitional program for foster youth. And he's a young man. He's going to give a bit of his perspective as a part of his voyage and his challenges as he's experienced them, having entered the foster care system at a fairly young age. And now as a young adult, he's making a lot of impact in his life and in others' lives. He's been able to advocate on behalf of AB 12, which is in California as the extension, the bill for the extension of services to foster youth over the age of 25, up to the 25, unsuccessful at this point in time. But at the same time, there is a commitment in the state of California for having funded transitional programs, and our organization was lucky enough to have a number of those in the state. We operate 5 programs in 5 different counties in the state. I've recently met Stephen as he's gone on his trails and advocated, most recently in San Francisco at a convening that was done by CWLA. And in our thinking and planning to talk about from field to fed, and really in keeping with our focus around consumer-centric services. And I was so impressed with how Stephen presented at that gathering that I thought, let's ask him to come. Right? And so many of you may have had the opportunity to meet Stephen during the last couple of days. And I'm not going to, I'm going to let him tell his story. But I think that what I hope you'll be able to hear and bring us to that place, which is let's make sure that we don't forget those that we do serve and those that we participate with on a day-to-day basis. So, Stephen? I'm going to hit you with 5-minute flash.
Okay. Thank you, Vernon. I don't have any fancy slides or cool slides to keep you out of the lull of your lunchtime dozing. But I may fall asleep up here myself as I'm from the West Coast. So if I do, feel free to come up to the podium and tap me on the shoulder. bring me back. My name is Stephen Weatherby, and I thank you all for the opportunity to be here as well. Thank you, Vernon, for the invite. And I'm 23 years old, and I'm from Fresno, California. I'm a server at a restaurant. I attend Fresno's City College, and I am here to talk to you a bit about my experiences in foster care, the hardships of that, and hopefully kind of tie everything up and lead into my life today as is right now. I grew up with two younger brothers and an older sister. My older sister was Olivia, and my two younger brothers were Sean and James. And as we were raised by our single mother, we were all half siblings. And our mother, in between, I guess, boyfriends and having children, she pretty much raised us by herself the whole time. And as siblings, we loved each other a lot. I remember playing Hot Lava with my little brothers, and I won't go into the game of Hot Lava, but if you want to know later, I can let you know. So you can play too. And my sister, for whatever reason, she would dress up my brothers and myself for fashion competitions when we were younger. So, and I'm not sure why I let her do that. Yeah, we were really close. And a bit about my mother. Despite being a single mother and on welfare, Section 8, a lot of support from the government and state. She really did her best to not keep her children back from anything. I got to play soccer and baseball and take karate and just all sorts of stuff. And she really did a great job. And so why was I a foster child? Well, my mother, her whole life, had and still has sort of a sickness that comes and goes with her, and that's I guess the best way to describe it is schizophrenia. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but during my childhood and even now, sometimes every 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, she has like a schizophrenia attack of sorts, and she kind of would go crazy and was not fit to care for us. So at the time, a CPS would get involved, and the police would knock on her door if she offended someone or did something odd in public. And myself, as well as my two younger brothers and my older sister, whom I love very much, we would get thrown into the system and into foster care. And a lot of times we would be split up. And that killed me on the inside, not being able to be close to them, and especially my sister and myself, especially as my sister and I got older, and being the two older siblings of the group, we were not able to be there for our younger brothers and support and care for them at times. Now, there were times where I'd be placed with little James or Sean, or maybe Olivia would be placed with one of us, but most of the time we were split up a lot, and I really wish that was taken into account more when we were younger or handled differently. But I do understand that there are not a lot of available foster parents in the system, and at times we had good foster parents whom I respect very much, and I thank them for being good foster parents. And at times we had bad as well. I remember my sister told a story of being in a group home in her high school years, and I think there was a mother and a daughter that ran that group home. Well, the mother did, of course, and she had a daughter, and they had 2 refrigerators, and one refrigerator had a lock on it, and that was for the mother and the daughter, and it had all sorts of food and goodies in it whenever they wanted. And my sister, as well as the other young ladies in that group home, had, of course, their own refrigerator with not very much in it. And along with some other bad stories my sister told, I remember that one the most, and that one stuck with me. And there was also a foster home I was in with little James, and I was blessed to be able to be in a foster home with him when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade in middle school. and it was James' birthday, I remember, and it was raining that day. It hadn't rained yet. It was his birthday, and he had his presents, and he was outside for whatever reason with them, looking at them and admiring them. And he came inside to grab something, and then it started raining. And Evelyn, our foster mother, as James was about to go outside and grab his gifts and show me, she said, "No, you can't go out there and get your gifts. It's raining." And so I thought, okay, well, she probably doesn't know his gifts are out there. So I said, "Well, Evelyn, can James go out there and get his presents? You know, it's his birthday, and his presents are getting wet." And she said, no, he can't. And I didn't understand. I didn't know why she wouldn't let him go out. She was sort of an older lady, and so I kind of just disobeyed her. I went outside and grabbed her gifts, and as a result, she was mad at me for some odd amount of days. But that's just another story that I remember from foster care that I've kind of never have forgotten. I know that kind of the underlying theme of this whole conference is interoperability or something like that. Sorry, it's the first time I've heard the word. So, so to try and connect a couple stories to that theme, I can only remember a couple maybe where this applies, but I remember I had to go through a lot of like medical checkups, get shots that I thought more shots than I thought were needed because I think somewhere along the lines medical records weren't shared, and the foster care system or the hospitals or the schools or just whoever didn't know if I had my shots or if I had my checkups or whatever I needed, and so as a result, I had to go through more and through more shots and stuff like that, and that's why I have to wear glasses now. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm healthy. So that's and another that maybe it applies to is I went through maybe about 3 or 4 caseworkers while I was in foster care, and I really wish that the different caseworkers, as the torch was passed, I was in foster care starting at like 4 or 5. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. And I went all the way up until I was 17, and I'll talk about the later years in a bit. But I really wish that as the torch was passed between caseworker to caseworker, that I kind of felt like they didn't share information. They kind of just, I don't know what they were doing in their life at all or where they went. But, I think I kind of just get the idea that, hey, these are these children. This is Stephen. He's 12. This is Shelby. He's 9. James is 5. And Olivia is, 14 or 15. And that's just gave them real basic information about us. Nothing about our wishes or keeping us together, because for a long time we weren't placed in the same home. So yeah, those two hopefully I apply to interoperability. I know that's not the word either. So thank you. At times in foster care, I felt that my wishes weren't always met, and I have a couple stories about that as well. After my mother had another schizophrenic attack, it was right after 9/11, and I was in high school. We were sent to Craycroft, and Craycroft is a building or a place where foster children go in Fresno, California, if there's not a home readily available for them. And you can stay in Craycroft for a month, and then either you find a home at the end of the month, or if the month passes, which is a fear for a lot of children, you get placed maybe in a group home or just like kind of an emergency home or something that's really not that good. And I remember the month was almost up, and maybe about 4 days to go. And a woman came from a foster care agency to talk to my sister and myself about a placement she found for us. And she put her suitcase down, shook my sister and my hand, us being the oldest siblings, and talked to us about foster care placements, possible placements. And she said, okay, well, you're not going to be able to go to the same school, Stephen and Olivia, this and that. And you two, it's great. You two can be placed together, but, unfortunately, little James and Sean will not be able to be placed with you. And so it was scary because the month was almost up, and we wanted to find a foster home, and hopefully not a group home, my sister and I. But, it was also scary at the same time. My sister and I talked very briefly, kind of like in a huddle, if we want this or not. And we decided we didn't want that. We wanted to be near our brothers, and I wanted to go to the same school as my friends were, and still a big part of my life and a huge blessing that I've had throughout the course of my life. And so we told her, thank you for the offer, but no, we're gonna keep waiting. We don't know there's not much time left here at Crickoff, but we're gonna keep waiting. And her mood changed really fast. The whole atmosphere. She kind of slammed her suitcase up. Said, "Okay, well, I hope you know and realize the gravity of the situation. Your month's almost up, and you're gonna really wish you wanted to take our foster home placement." And then she just left, and that was it. And it was really scary. And me being 14, didn't know that adults would do that. And I'm sure a lot of adults don't, but she did. And that's why that's a story that I remember about wishes not being met. But there was a happy ending to that. 2 days later, my friend Hunter Taves, his parents found out about myself and my family in foster care and in need of a home. And somehow, miraculously, they became foster parents super fast. They took in Olivia and myself. I got to go to the same school. And my two brothers, although they couldn't live with us, they stayed with really good family friends of theirs. So it all worked out. They kind of were close at hand. We knew they were taken care of. And I spent 2 years with the Taves. 2 years after staying with the Taves, my father, whom I had only met once when I was 13, contacted someone or the Taves and let them know that he wanted back in my life and he wanted me to live with him. And I remember kind of being nervous about it and unsure. I was comfortable at the Taves. I was comfortable with my school and with my friends and just where I was. But I remember social workers and the Taves and my father and just everyone who I talked to about it for advice said, "Yeah, you should do it. You should do it. Give him a chance." And I was uneasy the whole time, but eventually I kind of just bent. I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go with my dad." So at 17 and a half, I started living with my dad, and it was fine for a couple of weeks. And very shortly after that, the whole situation turned sour. He would argue with me a lot every day after school. He wanted me to do like the same line of work that he did when I wanted to be a teacher. He pushed me once up against a wall, and he got violent with me one time, and so it wasn't that great. And I remember the day after graduating from high school, I came home, and he was in his truck, and all of my things were in boxes along the side of our apartment that we lived in. And he backed out of the driveway with his truck and went through the apartment gate. And that was it. No goodbye, no nothing. And I didn't even exactly know where he was going. I thought he went to go continue work in Northern California because we went on a trip there one time. But yeah, that was it. And so at 18 and a half, just graduated, out of the system, I was alone in that parking lot, technically homeless. I didn't know what to do. I got a hold of a phone and I called my friend Shark. Yes, his first name is Shark, and his last name is Fiore. And I spent a lot of time with the Fiores and his family my senior year. I grew pretty close to them, as I did not like spending time at home with my father. And they agreed to let me stay there, given I paid rent. And like I said, my friends have been a huge blessing in my life, and that was huge, and I needed that. And so I kind of hopped from job to job, trying to upgrade jobs as I went along, minimum wage jobs. And I kind of went in and dropped out of school because, I just wasn't prepared for it. I didn't really know what I was doing independently. All I knew is that I could work and I could pay rent to them and kind of just live life and wait for the next opportunity. So shortly thereafter, a couple of years later, I lived there for 2 years as well. And then Shark moved out with his girlfriend at the time. And I remember a couple of months later, he said, "Hey, Steve, you should move in here. It's fun. It's pretty cool. You'll pay rent, just like at my parents." And I thought that was a good opportunity to, thank the Fioris and not outstay my welcome. So I went and moved in with Shark and his girlfriend and another roommate. And I realized very quickly that that was a mistake. 4 or 5 months later, I found out that his girlfriend really didn't like me, and I wasn't very fond of her. And to not make a story out of that, I ended up being kicked out by her and her mother because her mother was the main signer of the apartment. And despite, whatever defense I had for whatever, happened that day to her mother said, you're gone. It was her daughter. So she sided with her, and I got kicked out on Christmas Eve of 2007. And my friend Nick Myers, whom I'm still really close with today, another great friend, he and his family kind of had known for a couple weeks that it wasn't really working out for me at the apartment, and they told me that if anything happened to give them a call. And so I didn't know what I was expecting, but I gave them a call that night, and they said, "Okay, well, come over right now tonight. We want you to stay the night here." And I was pretty surprised by their generosity, and so I packed up my things, whatever I could right then, and I went over to the Myers house. And Christmas was obviously the next day, and my birthday, which is January 1st, was in a week. And they decided to not even talk to me about living situations for a week because they didn't want to stress me out during that season and so close to my birthday. And it was really, really nice of them, and I'll never forget it. And so in a week or so, they did talk to me about living situations. And they said, that they started talking about the summer and how I would do chores during the summer and mow the lawn. And I thought, whoa, like, I thought I was only staying here for a couple weeks, and I was going to move out again. Now you're talking about the summer and everything. And they didn't want rent. They just wanted to help me and to get on my own 2 feet. I had known them since the 7th grade, and it was just so kind of them. I'm blessed every day because of them. I remember that. And anyways, 9 months later, I found out about the company Aspira, whom Vernon is the CEO of, from my younger brother who just got emancipated when he was 18 about a year ago. And they have a program called THP Plus where you can they offer assistance to an emancipated youth if you're living with a host family. And I basically already was living with a host family. So the transition from me living with the Myers into this THP Plus program went really well. And while in the THP program, they've helped me hone independent skills, how to budget, how to get a credit card and work with a credit card, how to grocery shop, and how to cook a bit too, because I don't know anything about cooking at all. I can't even say I could make an egg really confidently. Sorry, I'm losing track here. And so yeah, that's basically about to where I am right now. I'm emancipated. I'm in the program. I'm on my own 2 feet. I'm going to college, City College again. I'm a liberal studies major, and everything's going really well. And I've had the opportunity to speak, like Vernon said, throughout California, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity and this opportunity today. I want to talk just a little bit about some other youth in the THP host family program who I've had the opportunity to interview my younger brother and Sandra Laura, who are also with the Spira. And my brother says that the THP program has helped him come up with a realistic monthly budget. It's helped him to be in the know about job opportunities, which with the economy, it's pretty hard to find a job. And with the Spira, the caseworkers do a great job of letting you know about jobs, and so my brothers appreciated that. And what stuck out to me most, he said, it's not like I've mastered any life skills since being in this program, but I've learned a lot of little things all around to be ready for the big picture. And I'm really proud of him, and he attends the University of Fresno State, and he's in the band over there. Now, Sandra Laura, age 20, she's been in the host family program for a year and a half. Her mother used to be her foster mother, and after a bit of thinking and hearing about the program, her foster mother agreed to be her host mother. And Sandra told me she was so happy about that. Now, Sandra told me something that I can really relate to as well, and that's that before being in the host family, she was really afraid to make any kind of mistakes in her life. Because, if she did, she would feel like she'd fall so far down the ladder that she couldn't recover. And now that she's in a host family and realized that she has a host mother who loves her very much, she can make those mistakes and not be scolded for it and not feel like it's the end of the world because she has someone to talk to about it and be accepted and be loved. And, I can relate to her with that, and that's how I feel with the Myers where I live. To finish, despite my story maybe seeming sad, I take all these experiences and I count them as blessings because I believe that I've learned a lot of things throughout my life that other children have not been able to learn at the rate that I have, because they haven't had to go through these problems. And I consider myself wiser in some ways. The saying, smooth seas don't always make a skillful sailor, comes to mind to me every time I'm going through a problem. And lastly, while enjoying my Honest Aid pomegranate drink yesterday, I noticed there was a quote on the inside of the label, and I really think that applies to everyone here today. And that quote from Gandhi reads, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And I don't know all of you that well, but I get the feeling that applies to all of you. And I thank you all for being here and for caring so much about the services to others and for this opportunity for me to speak to you.